Every morning you wake up with absolute clarity about which actions are worth taking and which are better left undone. No doubts, no time wasted on unnecessary tasks, no exhaustion from wrong decisions. This isn't fantasy, but the result of applying a system that combines ancient Stoic wisdom with Japanese principles of continuous improvement. 5 simple questions can transform the chaos of daily choices into a clear strategy for meaningful living. When decision-making becomes an art, every minute of our lives consists of micro-decisions. Getting out of bed or lying for 5 more minutes, writing a message or waiting, taking on a difficult task or postponing it until tomorrow. Most of these choices happen automatically, but what if each one became a conscious act of planning your own destiny? The Japanese concept of Kaizen traditionally focused on gradual improvements in manufacturing. However, when these principles meet Stoic philosophy, a system of thinking is born that transforms daily dilemmas into opportunities for wise living. Anatomy of conscious choice. 5 fundamental questions form a structure through which any life situation can be examined. Each reveals a certain aspect of our relationship to action, time, responsibility, perfection, and path. Epictetus developed the concept of the dichotomy of control, which became the foundation for understanding what should be done and what is better left alone. Modern neuroscience confirms his intuition through studies of the prefrontal cortex and its role in decision-making under uncertainty. First question: energy of action versus wisdom of letting go. Should this be done or let it go? This question goes far beyond simple task planning. It touches the very essence of how we spend our life energy. Modern research shows that the human brain consumes about 20% of the body's total energy. Most of this energy is spent on information processing and decision-making. When we constantly keep in mind tasks that don't actually require our intervention, we create cognitive load that depletes our resources for truly important decisions. The Stoics understood this intuitively. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations about how most of our worries concern things that have either already happened or may never happen. Modern psychology calls this rumination and links it to increased cortisol levels and decreased productivity. The mechanism of this question works through filtration. Before taking on any task, you evaluate it through the lens of control and influence. If the outcome depends entirely on external factors you cannot control, energy is better directed elsewhere. Second question: temporal wisdom of the Stoics. Time to act now or time to wait? This question reveals the complex interaction between urgency and importance, but also touches on a deeper understanding of time as a resource. Cognitive research shows that our brain poorly estimates time intervals, especially when it comes to future consequences of actions. The phenomenon of hyperbolic discounting makes us overvalue short-term benefits compared to long-term ones. The Stoics offered a different approach. Seneca wrote about how every moment could be the last, but this doesn't mean panicked haste. Rather, it's about conscious attitude toward time as the most valuable resource. The practical mechanism of this question includes evaluating 3 factors. First, does the situation improve with delay? Second, do you have all the necessary information for action? Third, are there external circumstances that might change in your favor? Interestingly, neuroscience has discovered separate brain structures responsible for time evaluation and future action planning. These systems work better when we consciously ask ourselves questions about the optimal moment for action. Third question: philosophy of delegation through personal responsibility. Better to do it yourself or delegate? Behind this question lies a deep understanding of the limits of personal capabilities and responsibility to the community. Aristotle, in his Nicomachean Ethics, examined the concept of phronesis, practical wisdom. This concept includes understanding when personal intervention is necessary and when it's better to entrust the matter to others. Modern leadership research shows that the most effective leaders spend only 30 to 40% of their time on tasks that only they can perform. The rest of the time is devoted to strategic thinking and developing other people. The working mechanism of this question is based on honest assessment of one's own competencies. If you can perform a task significantly better than others, or if the execution process will give you valuable experience, it's worth taking on the task yourself. Otherwise, delegation may bring greater benefit to all participants. The Stoics understood that true strength lies in recognizing one's own limitations. Epictetus taught that a wise person knows the difference between what they can do well and what is better left to others. Fourth question, perfection versus sufficiency. Execute everything to the end or be satisfied with less? This question touches one of the most complex aspects of human psychology, perfectionism, and its impact on productivity and life satisfaction. Psychological research shows that perfectionism often becomes an obstacle to achieving results. People who strive for perfect execution of every task paradoxically achieve fewer results than those who focus on completing important tasks at a sufficient level. The Stoics offered the concept of katharthoma, right actions. Right action is defined by its correspondence to circumstances and purpose, not by abstract standards of perfection. The practical mechanism includes evaluating the marginal utility of additional efforts. If improving the result by 5% requires doubling the time spent, it might be worth stopping at the current level and moving to the next task. This approach is especially important in creative work, where the search for the perfect solution can continue indefinitely. Neuropsychology shows that the brain continues processing information even when we're not consciously thinking about the problem. Sometimes a sufficient solution made on time proves more effective than a perfect one that comes too late. Fifth question, path of habit versus path of discovery. Take the familiar path or find a simpler path of wisdom? The last question unites all previous ones in the search for optimal balance between the reliability of proven methods and openness to new possibilities. Cognitive science has discovered that our brain is naturally inclined to use mental shortcuts, heuristics. These automatic thinking patterns save energy, but can limit our ability to see new solutions. As Plato said, thinking is the constant movement of the soul. Nothing remains a constant, not even our beliefs that dictate our habits. Each situation has its unique characteristics, even if it seems similar to previous ones. This principle encourages constant reevaluation of our approaches. The working mechanism of this question includes regular audit of one's own working methods. Do familiar approaches bring expected results? Have new circumstances appeared that require a different approach? Are there alternative paths that might prove more effective? Integration of 5 questions into a unified system. These 5 questions work most effectively not as separate tools, but as an interconnected system of thinking. Each decision passes through all 5 filters, creating a multi-dimensional assessment of the situation. Neuroscience shows that when we use structured approaches to decision-making, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is activated, a brain area responsible for executive functions and strategic thinking. This leads to reduced emotional reactivity and improved decision quality. Stoic philosophy adds understanding of the ethical dimension of every choice. Decisions are evaluated not only from the point of efficiency, but also from the position of how they correspond to our deep values and contribute to the common good. Practical application of the philosophical system. Using this system begins with forming the habit of asking yourself these 5 questions before making any significant decision. Initially, this process may seem slow, but over time it becomes automatic and significantly improves the quality of life choices. Each question activates different aspects of our thinking. The first forces evaluation of the realism of our capabilities. The second includes temporal thinking. The third develops resource assessment skills. The fourth forms a healthy attitude toward results. The fifth maintains openness to changes and improvements. This approach is especially effective in situations of high stress or uncertainty, when emotional reactions can interfere with rational thinking. Structured questions create a kind of pause between stimulus and reaction, allowing for a more thoughtful decision. The combination of ancient wisdom with modern understanding of brain function creates a powerful system for navigating the complexity of contemporary life. Kaizen planning through a Stoic lens transforms daily choices into steps of personal development and wise living.